Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Come, my brother. Assalamu alaikum. Come here. So, give me 2-3 minutes, inshallah, and then we'll talk, because I need your support and help, inshallah, to make establish one thing. So, as we are discussing, just a moment ago, I was challenging Hatun of Christian missionary team to prove a claim that she made, and that claim has been parroted by her Christian friends all over the acquaintances and so on, over the internet and so on, even here. And that happened to be based on utter ignorance of the Arabic script and calligraphy. What it was she found, because there was a challenge long time ago, I challenged her and said, look, anywhere in the world you go, the Hafs Quran, the one that I have studied and known, Hafs, which you will read to me in a moment, inshallah, that we have preserved the differences even to the letter dot and south. We preserved it. So the example I gave was the example of da'fin and du'fin. Just hear me out. Da'fin and du'fin. One with a fatha and one with a dhamma. Obviously, there's a vowel difference. But these are both acceptable reading in Hafs. Even to that level, it's been preserved. Both of them are acceptable. This is how our Imams of recitation has passed on this reading. So I never claimed that there is no differences between them. What I said, the differences even to the level of pronouncing a or u is preserved. That was my claim throughout. But obviously they twisted. This is so sad how Christians twist your words, what you say. They twist, and I made in the debate about Hafs, because back then I didn't know anything about Warsh because I haven't studied them. But I know Warsh reading. There's also Warsh from Asbahani and Al-Azraq and so on. But from my cursory reading, they're still also the same. I claimed about Hafs, and now she extended that claim and made several times. Oh, you're lying, you need to apologize to 1.84 billion Muslims. I never talked about that bring 3 differences, they're all the same in Warsh. No, I talked about Hafs. Warsh I didn't talk about. So, failing and being debunked in Hafs, because I made a whole video on the Hafs as well. And it's in SCDawah. Those who want to go and watch it, we can provide the link in the description in SCDawah as well. OCC? Yeah, OSCC, right? So, what we have done, shown you how the Hafs Quran, or the Mus'haf, or the reading, throughout has been the same. There is no differences. There are of course graphical differences, because initially when the Quran was written, they were not written with dots and dhamma and kasra and fatha. There were no vowels and so on. Later on, because people like us who are not Arabs, to facilitate to us how to read it properly, these diacritical points were given, introduced, vowels introduced to make it easy. So there was always the convention in India is one, in Turkey in one, and others. Slight differences how you write the script. That's always been the case. But the beauty of the preservation of the Quran is this. The Hafs reading, wherever you go, I'm saying again, you recite it the same, even to the sound. That's the claim I made, even to the sound. So the examples they provided, every single slide I took in. I didn't say, oh, let me just deal with 2 points and then leave the rest because the left may actually be different. No, every single slide they put up, I went through and showed how their expert witness was a liar, didn't know how to read, and demonstrated that they all read the same. So having established Hafs, what happened? Of course, they have to move on to something because it's been debunked, utterly destroyed to those who have sense and who can see and read. They came along talking about Warsh, apparently Warsh of differences.
But Mansur, so, come back to the same thing as CSI.
Yeah, no, brother, that's right. Warsh. Now, having experience of their lies and deception, I didn't want to debate them because it is difficult to debate them to make a point across, as you've just witnessed. I came there specifically today to challenge her on a mockery she made, an embarrassment for the Christian whole world, because she represents them. Unless the Christian world disowns her, saying, she's not one of us. We disown her, this ignorant Christian who's making a fool of herself. Right? That's up to you. So, Hatun made a claim on the ladder, saying, look, your Quran says, Sadafatin. It means seashell. And she picked up few Muslims who were Arabs. And then one Muslim brother, a good friend of mine, may Allah bless him increase him in his knowledge, and bless his family. This brother, he noticed there's certain thing. No, he said, doesn't look right after a while. Initially he thought it was fa, because she only showed one word. When you have one word without knowing what script it is, you would think it's a fa. Like if I showed you now, you would say, oh, this is a fa. Like this one, let me show you again. Now Surah Al-Baqarah, very beginning. فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. But this letter is written with one dot. You would think, no, this is muttafin with a fa. When I just showed you this only. So the brother read it, and then as she was showing more examples, he realized, that's not right. There's a letter that has a dot underneath. In Arabic, we don't have a fa, a letter like this. Look, yunfiqun, a dot underneath. He said, could be Urdu. So clever, my brother, mashallah. He realized something is not quite correct in here. It is not the conventional Arabic script. But they exposed him in the sense like, you don't know. Oh yeah, so you're sadafatin. Another brother who was quite right, and he says, no, it's not. And she accused her, the Arab brother, no, you're making taqiyah, you lie. This is not sadaqatin, it's sadafatin. So, having watched that video, I said, subhanallah. Why expose her and embarrass her of this simple, silly mistake? Let me make a video, it's all out there, so at least it will save her face from the embarrassment from facing here. A bit of mercy from us, right? But she kept going with this, with her arrogance and stubbornness. And she wants to now saying we are all doing taqiyah like a deception, we are actually lying about it. So I came to challenge her. Last week I said, okay, we'll come back next time, and she agreed this week. So I challenged her on this very issue, nothing else, on the issues of sadaqatin and sadafatin. Let's see what it says. Obviously I established beyond a shadow of doubt it's sadaqatin because the letter is qaf, because how this is the qaf is written. If I were to show you now the academic reference, it's not just what I say. Look what the academics have to say. Now, hold on to this, my brother. What do the academics say about this letter? Because you might think, okay, I'm just trying to save the Quran from the differences. Look, this is Professor Nabiya Abbott. Anyone who is Orientalism, studies Western writers and scholars on Islam and Quran and so on, they know Nabiya Abbott very well. She wrote this book, The Rise of North Arabic Script and Its Quranic Development, with a full description of the Quran in manuscripts in the Oriental Sea Institute. Nabiya Abbott. This is what she has to say. The cursive Maghribi script, on the whole, has several general characteristics, and she lists them. And one of the special characteristics is this, the one dot below for F, meaning fa, and one above for ka, for general. And diacritical points for final fa, kaf, and noon and ya are seldom used. So sometimes fa, qaf, and noon and ya don't even have any dots. That's in Maghribi script. Now this is another scholarly reference. The Arabic manuscripts, a vademecum for readers by Adam Gakek. This is what he says about, he has a whole table of Maghribi letters. You can see alif, ba, jim, dal, ra, all of this, and different forms that they occur in the scripts. And this is how he says about fa and qaf, and I've blown it into a, zoomed it in. If you look at fa, look at the fa, all the dots below this letter. Look at qaf, the two dot qaf, only one dot. So now you realize from an academic source, the letter qaf is like letter fa in normal other Arabic writings. Now here's another reference by Dan Bugert, wrote in manuscripts of the Middle East for 1989. So again, a scholarly journal, scholarly reference, and this is what it says in the first place. It is intended as a concise manual for the reading of the Maghribi script material, that paper, which often poses problems even for native speakers of Arabic. The cursive style of Maghribi script, as well as the calligraphic style, contain many letter forms and ligatures, how they are written, with which the average reader of Arabic is unfamiliar. So if you only an Arabic reader of Arabic, you wouldn't know there's a fa or qaf. This is the characteristics listed. Qaf and fa have unconventional diacritical points. Explained more in the table. Fa in number 21, qaf in number 21. Same examples here, footnote here. Look, fa fa with one dot. This is the initial, the middle, and final, and separate. Every time you write a fa, there is only one dot beneath it. This particular shape. When you write qaf, there is only one dot. Look at the initial letter, the middle letter, at the end. It has one dot. The best known characteristic of Maghribi script is the different pointing of fa and qaf. Fa has 1 point under the line and qaf has 1 point above the line. So now, giving you 3 academic reference would make you absolutely clear that in the Maghribi script of the Quran, when we read this, we don't read as Al-Quranul Kareem, we would read Al-Quran Al-Kareem, even though this form has 1 dot above it. So it's not fa, it's qaf. Surat Al-Fatiha, not Batiha with a dot below, because that's the letter fa with a dot below. Some more examples. Same in Surah Al-Fatiha. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. But look, it looks like a fa with a dot, 1 dot. It is not a fa, it's a qaf in the Maghribi script, because that's how they write their qaf. If you read now Surah Al-Baqarah, there's not the one there? Okay, somewhere missing. No. Let me find the Surah Al-Baqarah. No, I want to show you the word Baqarah. Is it there with you there? No, never mind. This is the second ayah. Muttaqeen. Look. Fihi hudan lil muttaqeen. An ignorant reader of Maghribi script will read as muttaqeen, but it's actually muttaqeen. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Look at the word ويقيمون. The noon doesn't even have a dot. ويقي, the qaf has only one letter, 1 dot above. So you might think this is ويقيمون, but it's actually ويقيمون. رزقناهم, the letter qaf has 1 dot. So it's not a fa, it's a qaf. ينفقون, the fa has a dot below, qaf has a dot above. Not 2 dots like we are familiar with, right? يوقنون, 1 dot above is a fa or qaf. 1 dot above the letter in Maghribi script, fa or qaf? Qaf. So, do you think Muslims who read this, they will read differently? Yufinun, yuqinun. So anyone with a basic knowledge of alif, ba, ta, tha in the Maghribi writing would not make such a silly mistake like our experts in Islam, as represented by these people earlier on, Hatun. Obviously they are no expert at all. They are an embarrassment to the whole Christendom. Right. It begs the question, because she doesn't know, of course, she doesn't know alif, ba, ta, tha, it must be her teacher who taught her that. That teacher has been deceiving her. It's a deception in a grand scale to expose her, to embarrass her, to humiliate her. I didn't want to humiliate her. I didn't want to embarrass her. Come on, she's a human being too. There's a limit to how much you want to embarrass someone. You can expose their lies. Yes, we are for it. We will expose their lies. But come on, to humiliate, to embarrass, be merciful, my brothers, all Muslims. Show them some mercy. So now, as we realize, the Maghribi Quran doesn't say صدفة like here. قول معروف ومغفرة خير من صدقة is صدقة. So beyond the shadow of doubt, we establish it's the same word, same meaning. Now, am I just making a claim that the Quran is always the same in even the Warsh readings? Let's recap what I said about the Hafs reading. Adrian Brockett wrote a PhD thesis in the 80s, 90s, right? 88, I think. And he examined the 2 readings, Hafs and Warsh transmission. This is his conclusion. Most of the variations simply concern orthography of recitation or recitation. And it must be said at the outset that none has any effect on the meaning of the text. Within a given transmission, such as Hafs, that never varies. It must also be said that there is no clear dividing line between reading and chanting, so some variations are purely recitative. It need hardly be repeated that none of these differences have any effect on the meaning of the text. They served, in fact, to show just that. However disparate these transmissions may have been from each other, and for how long independent, they represent no variant readings of any substance. This is a scholar telling you about the differences between halves. There is no differences in meaning. It's all the same. What about Warsh? What did he conclude about Warsh? He said the same thing about Warsh. I'm not sure whether I've got it there. Have I got it here or not? It could be here. Yeah. Variations between Warsh copies. He has a whole chapter called Variations between Warsh copies. So you would expect the Christians at least should go to read some academic literature on this point and see what do they academic scholars have to say. The purpose of this chapter is to show areas where the Warsh copies vary among themselves, because they're written differently in different times and places. These areas can then be excluded from the list of differences between the Hafs copy and the Warsh copy. The variations given in this chapter are again therefore illustrative and not exhaustive. What does it say is this? The variations simply concern orthography or recitation. And it must be said at the outset, none has any effect on the meaning of the text. Within a given transmission, such as Warsh, that never varies. In conclusion, page 88, 83. As with chapter 3, footnote 1, the areas covered by the examples in this section can be excluded from the list of differences between the two transmissions. They comprise orthography and recitative details. Again, a number of the differences are graphic, and it need hardly be repeated that none of these differences, graphic or vocal, have any effect on the meaning of the text. None of it whatsoever. This is a conclusion from the scholars. Of course, you can write with a dot below or dot after in Maghribi or in Kufi, in Diwani, in Andalusian. No change in meaning. This is what it says. So this is just to show you in summary how the Quran has been preserved. Now, my brothers and sisters who are watching and listening, hold on. I would like to introduce to you a brother of mine. Please make dua for him and all the brothers in the world who have preserved the Quran in the heart, as the Quran has been preserved in the hearts of multitudes and thousands yesterday and the day before and the week before and the month before and the year before, all the way back to the companions and to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We preserve the Quran in our heart, and I want to demonstrate to you today, God willing, if my brother is willing, how the Quran, to what extent we have preserved the Quran in the heart. Now, I'm sorry to do that. It looks like a test, so I apologize, because this brother, alhamdulillah, has memorized whole of the Quran. I am not testing you, my brother. Sometimes you might make mistakes, but I don't think you will make mistakes, okay? What I'm going to demonstrate to you, this is a Quran. Are you familiar with this? Is that the same Medina Mus'haf? Yes. Okay, right. This is a Quran. It's a Mus'haf published by, it's a Mus'haf. The one I could bring is small, because all are big at home, right? Darut Tawheed, France. It's from France. Okay, very beautiful Mus'haf. Now, as you can see, all in Arabic, all the pages, page numbers in English. I would need a volunteer. What I will show you today is this. What we mean by, brothers, the extent of memorization of the Quranic text. To what level? To what level? You would appreciate what we mean by Quran preservation in the hearts. Right. Naveed, are you going to check someone? Get someone? Okay, so bear with me, my brother. Subhanallah, if you really put your heart and make it a receptacle of the Quran, this is a blessing. May Allah increase you in His blessings to you. May Allah bless your family. And all the Huffaz of the Quran that has memorized the Quran and kept it in their hearts. And may Allah give you the tawfiq to practice it. And all of us to the ability to memorize as much as we can. If you can't find someone, we will still do a check here, inshallah. I want to make it as neutral as possible, so that the element is biased is removed in this experiment. I will call that an experiment. doesn't have to be that long, brother. If you can't find it, no problem.
Okay, we can.
Okay. Now, let's just wait for Naveed to come back. If he can't find someone, that's okay. Probably he's going to go get an English, not English, a non-Muslim speaker perhaps.
Right, Mansur. You know, the word sadaqah wouldn't make any sense in this context.
Correct. In that context, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Did you tell them?
No. But it's not a point about which word it is. It's to show that what letter it is.
I understand, yeah. But even
Everything that you show on the camera, are you going to be giving it to them so they superimpose it over your voice for the video?
No, that's how it's going to be. They will snap it and put it up. Inshallah. It's HD, right? 4K.
No. So the stuff that you've read from,
This is already uploaded in a video called Seashell, exposing the Christian missionaries, right? Seashell Christians. Debunking the alleged differences between the Warsh Qurans. It's already up there in SCDawah channel, and you should upload that on your channel too.
Is it okay?
Bro.
Volunteer, just open the Quran, that's all.